My experience as an autistic trans guy, non-binary trans guy. I am 27. I turn 28 next month, and I am an American. I was still in high school at the time, but yeah, that took a little while. So yeah, I'll say that I was 18 at the time. I identified back then, that first time, as genderqueer, actually. So back then was when Tumblr really entered into my life, and I was first introduced into like the concept of non-binary identity. Like at that point, I had been made aware of trans people. I had been doing like my own research and watching documentaries and reading people's accounts, but it had always been from a very binary perspective, and not just binary but trans feminine perspective. So it wasn't really something that I understood that I could be until I discovered that genderqueer identity was something that existed, and that was like a revelation for me, because the way that I experienced gender, especially back then, was very non-conforming, and it's continued to be, but and so I had a lot of conflict about the way that I not only expressed my gender but also thought about it. So I felt that genderqueer at the time was like not only like a safer step than me admitting to the way that I really felt like back then, but also just a more freeing way to express my identity than trying to pigeonhole myself into being a man or a woman. So right now I identify as I do identify as a man, but I identify as a non-binary man, and what that means is that for me, my masculine identity is not aligned with what we would consider cis masculinity. Like, it doesn't have the same trappings. I don't relate to a lot of the the experiences of a cis man. So for me, my identity is very much tied up into the way that I was raised as someone who was, meant to be a Black woman. And I feel very strongly about that, and I have a lot of attachment to that experience. So it all informs my masculine identity. And so I feel very comfortable calling myself a man, but I wouldn't say at all that I'm a binary man, because, who needs that? Binary. And when I first found out, now this is an interesting question, because when I first realized that I was not cis, I was actually younger than when I came out, because it took me a long time, a couple of years, to figure out what it was that I was feeling. It had been after I had gotten into an argument about my mom, and I cut my hair. I was 16 at the time. I had gone into the bathroom miserable because I was sick of this long ass length hair, and the way people saw me, the way people treated me for it, and I cut it all off. And so I went, my mom, furious, my mom went and took me to a professional, got my hair cleaned up. It was pretty rough, but regardless, so I kept my hair short after that point, and at one point I had gotten my hair cut in a very masculine style, and my mom was pissed. She was not happy. So she was screaming at me the whole way home, and at one point she yelled at me, I don't know what's wrong with you. Do you want to be a boy? And in my mind, and keep in mind, this was when I was 16 and I didn't really even have the words for this yet. In my mind, I was screaming, yes. Yes, I do want to be a boy. And ever since that moment, that thought never left for me. And I hope that this video, I don't know, maybe shine some light for some people. And I hope that it's something that other people can relate to and understand that your experience is unique to you, but you are understood. And most of all, there will always be people out there who will support you and love you and be there for you, even if they don't 100%, understand. They will love you no matter what. And hopefully we'll all get through this together. Thank you. And happy Wrath Month.